Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Raliat, and in this video I'm going to be breaking down all the costs and expenses I spent touring through West Africa. So from Nigeria all the way to Benin Republic, Togo, Ghana and Ivory Coast, and then coming all the way back to Nigeria. So I have some talking points on my phone here, and that's where I'll be looking to reference the prices of things and how much was spent. So I'll be breaking down the cost of the hotels that we stayed in, and I'll be rating these hotels over 10 in my opinion, and well, the general public. By general public I mean like the 8 of us that were on this road trip. I'll also be talking about the places we visited and toured. Feeding was very subjective on this trip, so everybody had their own meal, well, except breakfast, but lunch, dinner, snack, whatever you wanted to have and buy was very subjective. But I'll suggest that you take at least 10,000 naira, which is $12 to $13 per meal, or you budget $12 to $13 per meal. It would sometimes go as low as $6 per meal and sometimes go as high as $18 per meal. It depends. I know that you're wondering why I'm talking about dollars when I'm coming from Nigeria, but just to make everything transparent, and whatever the rate is whenever you're watching this video, you'll be able to multiply by the naira rate or whatever country you're watching from, right? I'll also be putting the naira equivalent on the screen, and I think I'll be putting like the country's currency also. So for instance, CFA or cedis. The documents that we needed, I'm just going to put this here. The documents that we needed for the trip were our international passport, our yellow fever card, and the COVID-19 vaccination card. I think entering Benin Republic from Nigeria, you wouldn't really need any of the documents. I think you can actually go with as low as a driver's license, but I'll just to be on the safe side, in case anything happens, you know that you have your passport and they can recognize that you're actually from your country of wherever you say you're from. For transportation, the reason I'm putting all this before I talk about the main cost is because there's some things that we just already planned in the beginning. For instance, the feeding that I talked about. And in transportation, we hired a bus and a driver from Nigeria. I think it's subjective and it changes. You can reach out to them. We used ABC Transport. I don't know if I'm going to mention. Am I going to mention? Anyways, we used ABC Transport from Nigeria all the way to Ghana, but because I think there are some proceedings or there are some technicalities from crossing Ghana to Ivory Coast, they do not cross that border. So they dropped us at Ghana, and then we used SCC to come from Ghana to Cote d'Ivoire and then back, and then they took us from Ghana all the way back to Nigeria. I'll be breaking this day by day and what we spent on each day, where we stayed, how many nights, and all of that. So everything, transportation from Benin Republic through to Ghana, all the trips, everywhere we went to, every single place, from the restaurant to the hotel, everywhere was already paid for before we left Nigeria. It was just in Cote d'Ivoire that we had to spend, Uber. Well, they don't use Uber, they actually use Yango. Is it Yango or Zango? I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen. It's like their Uber or their taxi, paid call, like mobile taxi, the equivalent of Uber in their own country. Day one, we went to Azalea Hotel, Azalea Hotel. I don't know how it's pronounced, but we spent a total of $218 per night at Azalea Hotel, and we spent 2 nights there. Azalea Hotel, at first, I will rate it a 5 over 10 because we had some issues with reception and they were being very rude. Not rude, but they were not warm and welcoming. But make sure that for these hotels, make sure that when you book, you confirm that your breakfast is included in your package, because sometimes you miss that, and then before you know it, you're paying for a breakfast. But Azalea on the first night was 5 over 10. So after we got into Benin and checked in our luggage, we went to Woman King Statue. Woman King Statue is a beautiful and gorgeous space. It is just off the express, the main road, and it is open. When we got there, it was raining, it was drizzling, and we met some children and a few adults. and everybody was just playing, and it was vibes. And I really loved the history of the Woman King. It was a huge, humongous statue that was just there. So it was free. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but it was free for us to go in. We just went in, parked, and then toured around the place. It wasn't so big. The statue itself is big. So the next day, day 2, we had buffet, which was, you know, complimentary, or part of the room. Yeah, it was part of the room. So there was a dining hall, and when we got there and we saw the buffet and the variety of foods, it got bumped up to 7/10. Yeah, but I would say that the rooms are a bit stuffy. Not the bathrooms were really cute, but the rooms were stuffy. That's why I'm not giving them 10/10 or 9/10. So we went that morning. We had buffet and it was really nice. Mind you, this is inclusive of the room, the rate I mentioned earlier. After eating, we went to Python Temple. Python Temple is where, you know, people that are not exactly in their right state of mind put snake on their necks and just, you know, all of that. So we toured that. We did all the things we could do in Python Temple. We paid $3 each to get into temple, and then have like a tour guide just show us everything and talk about the history of the temple. We then went to the slave trade route, that is the Tree of No Return. We went to the graveyard where like some people were buried. We went to the places where they used to chain slaves. I'll just put like clips on the screen for you guys to see that it was for $3 per person for that tour. We paid like some random guy we saw that was a tour guide to just take us around. After then, we went to Casa del Papa, because I mean, you go to Benin and you don't go to Casa del Papa. Anyways, it was packed to the brim. There was nowhere for us to sit, nowhere for us to we couldn't have access into it, because I think there were some companies that were on retreat and they brought their entire staff, and it was really packed. So we couldn't even, we wanted to kayak there, we couldn't kayak, we couldn't eat there, nothing. So we just left. So day 3, the morning, we woke up, and of course we're still in the Azalea hotel. We went for our usual buffet in the morning, and then it was my birthday, and they gave us a complimentary cake. They gave my birthday, they gave me a complimentary cake, and it was really cute because we didn't expect it, but I was like, thank you so much, Azalea. So I then bumped them up to 9/10 for customer service, because someone came and apologized for like the reception guy that was acting up in the beginning of the trip. And then he was just there throughout. I think he was their manager, and he was just there asking us for okay, whatever we wanted. And so customer service 9.5/10. But the rooms, I will just still leave it as 7/10 for the price of the hotel. The rooms were not great, but the bathrooms were okay. The bathrooms were well lit, the bathrooms were good. And we didn't have access to the balcony that had the ocean view. So what was the point of having a room with an ocean view when you didn't have access to the balcony? I don't know. Anyways, that's that for Azalea. So we left Azalea and then we went to Togo. Our first stop entering Togo was visiting Cascade de Pime. Cascade de Pime is like on the outskirts towards the north of Togo, and where we were lodging was like central Togo. But it was really nice. The waterfall was beautiful, and we paid $5 each, about $5 each, to go into the Cascade de Pime. So after that, we went back to Lomé and then checked into our hotel, Elogia Hotel. Elogia Hotel was $60 per night, and we spent one night at Elogia. Elogia Hotel, I would rate customer service about 7 or 8/10, mostly because they were really slow, and one of the people on the trip who was so upset was like, why are you guys so slow? Although I don't know, it was just like 7 or 8/10. The rooms are rated 5, 6/10 because I don't know, it was just not giving. But then for the price, I guess that's fair. The bathroom was really big, but like it had nothing in it. It was really big. Like the water closet was far from the basin, was far from the shower. It was just a very large space that they could have maybe incorporated into the, I don't know. The reason I'm talking about this is because I'm an architect, and some spaces just mess with my mind if they are not well executed. Day 4, we woke up and checked out of a Logia hotel. We got breakfast served in the reception. There was like some dining stool thing in the reception area. It wasn't bad, but the breakfast was not coming from Azalea. Breakfast was bread and tea with butter. We didn't have a range of options. We didn't have anything. So it was just like, we want to go back to Azalea. anyways, I don't know. Going back to Azalea, sorry guys. But anyways, you see it in the clip. They had different things. They could make your egg for you. There were fruits, there was rice, there was bread, there was anything you really wanted, like apple juice, I think ginger or orange juice. It was just a lot. It was a lot of options. After we left Elogia Hotel, we went to Palais de Lumi. Oh my god, Palais de Lumi is so gorgeous. The upkeep coming from somewhere that maintenance culture is really bad. The upkeep in Palais de Lumi is great. It's a museum that just houses like history and things that happened in Togo. Visiting Palais de Lumi, we spent $8 each to go in and get a tour of the entire space. Everything is well maintained. While we're there was someone cutting the grass. It was just the little details that just showed that they were really intentional about preserving the history of spaces. If you guys are not aware, I'm low-key, high-key shading Nigeria and Nigerian spaces where like you have zero maintenance culture, and then even going to like historical places and visiting history is just really upsetting because there isn't so much to see because no one maintains it and they collect an entry fee. So I mean, we stopped briefly at the Independence Monument in Togo and paid the security about $2 per person, and then we started heading for Ghana. When we got to Ghana, we checked into our hotel, Maple Homes, which was by far the best hotel, or the best hotel we stayed in throughout this trip. Customer service was 12/10. I started chatting with them before we entered Ghana just to confirm a few things and to know where we could get like change dollars because we're already out of it. And they called someone into the reception, that a brew the change guy, and he changed the dollars for us. For dinner, they let us know the various options and they helped us call like the food people and ordered food for us. It was just beautiful and the space was clean. It didn't feel like a hotel, it felt like an Airbnb because there was like an open kitchen in the space, so you could cook if you really wanted. Like if you were not interested in buying food, you could cook your meals. The toilet was clean and it was really nice. The bedroom was nice, it was well decorated, and 10/10, to be honest, 20/10. Yeah, we paid $142 per night, per room per night. We stayed there for 3 nights. Initially, we were going to stay in Ghana for 2 nights. We got to Ghana, and to be honest, we fell in love in Ghana, and we're like, we're going to stay here for 3 nights, and then we'll worry about Ivory Coast. Day 5, after checking into Maple Homes, we went to Cape Coast Castle. You guys, another example of a place that maintained history. Our tour guide Tony was a great storyteller. We first went to on a boat ride to just see the castle from the ocean and just have a view of what the slaves saw when they were departing their country and sold off to another country. And we had the POV of the people coming back, and it was just a whole journey going to Cape Coast. Anyways, entry to Cape Coast was $4 per person, thereabouts. We went through the male dungeons and the female dungeons, and the female dungeon was where the white people, the people that came to oppress the slaves, would take a pick and rape the women. And each the male and the female, they had like punishments for if you would refuse to obey, or refuse to allow yourself to be raped, or refuse to move or do something. Like for the men sometimes they would what did Tony call it, sodomy or something, where they feast you with just very gruesome, very feast you with like something, an iron or wood, I don't know what it is, and in front of everybody just to break your spirit. It was a really terrible time. The reason I'm mentioning all of this is just for you guys to know that I love that Ghana is very intentional with, or at least Cape Coast Castle, because I didn't go to everywhere in Ghana, is very intentional with keeping the history of the slavery alive. The story was just gripping. Everyone was down. We cried. It was, and then, you know, going upstairs, the guy that was in charge basically, and seeing his quarters and just seeing his view of the ocean and seeing the amount of windows he had, when like a lot of men, thousands of men would be hooked up in one, like just hooked up in a particular space and have like a small window, less than like 1 foot by 1 foot window. For the boat ride, I think you would have to bargain properly, but I think talking to Tony, I don't know if Tony will be the person you meet when you go to Cape Coast Castle, but the tour guide will be able to help you bargain properly with the boat riders. We went to the market and bought stuff. Obviously, like I said, it was peculiar to each person and what they spent. I bought some jigida waist beads for my friend. I bought some keychains. I bought like some other things in the market. So obviously the price would vary from person to person. So day 6 went to Black Star Square in Ghana, and we just paid a little token when we're done like seeing the place, just for maintenance. It wasn't so much to see there, to be honest. Then we went to the beach. We rode horses. Obviously, riding of horses was just by bargain. We bargained with them that, oh, we're 8 and we want to ride horses each. Each person wants to ride a horse, so help us with something, you know. So we paid something to the horse guys, just bargained with them properly. There was no fixed price. Day 7, we went to Ivory Coast, and we used, obviously our bus dropped us at STC. We used a transportation company, STC, to go from Ghana to Ivory Coast and Ivory Coast back to Ghana, and we spent about $180 to go and come back, so to and fro. STC is like a luxurious bus, and we all just sat beside each other, and it was cool. It was nice. Then we checked into B&B Hotel. B&B Hotel gave the same vibe as LA Hotel. For the B&B Hotel, we spent $184 for 2 nights per room. So 1 room for 2 nights, $184. B&B Hotel, I would give their rooms, customer service was like maybe 8. They just checked us in, they were nice. So we went to Banco National Park, as Park National de Banco, and spent $8 for entry per person. But there wasn't much to see, to be honest. It was just a walk through the park. We walked for an hour through. It was long. If you have the option, please just take a bicycle. Just take that instead, to be honest. It was not worth it. Then we visited St. Paul's Cathedral. There was a wedding, I think, going on there, and we didn't get to get into the church, but it was just nice. We went around and we just paid a token to like the security guys. For B&B Hotel, we had a similar breakfast to Azalea, but their buffet menu was limited. It's the amount of things they had. They had mostly bread, like different types of bread and cake and sweet things. I don't think that's good for breakfast. I don't know, in my opinion. We went back to Ghana, and then we got picked up from Ghana and then came back to Nigeria. So that was basically all we did and how much we spent touring West Africa. We've come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was really insightful, and you can then go on your trip. If you have any questions and you want to confirm anything, then just leave it in the comment section and I'll be sure to respond to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Oh, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. Like this video if you really enjoyed it, so that you can get to more people, so that they know what they're getting into when they're coming to West Africa or when they're going to certain countries in West Africa. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Mwah, bye. A quick one before I go. Another trip is coming up in November to the south of Africa. So 4 countries in South of Africa, not South Africa. 4 countries in South of Africa in November. So if you're interested in that, my IG and my email is in the description, so you can just reach out to me and let me know. I'm also planning with the same set of people that I planned with for the West Africa trip.
Waka Waka Doctor and the Lagos Stories. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.